Welcome everyone, Dylan Gemelli here today with a brand new video for you, and as promised we're going to talk about the ECA stack. Highly requested video. I did a video on ephedrine and I promised this video, so I definitely want to make sure I follow through with that promise. But before we get into that, I have to reiterate that I'm not a doctor, so anything I say in these videos is for your entertainment purposes only. What you do with this information is completely and utterly up to you, and I am not advising nor condoning you to use any of the things that we discuss in any way, shape, or form. So let's get into the ECA stack. Now, it's a really classic fat loss stack. It's been used by years, all right, by people that are competing in sports and just regular everyday people. Very, very intrigued and very fond of this stack, actually. Now, I'm going to talk to you about a lot of things that get asked. We're going to talk about if it's safe, it's effective, alternatives. So I'm going to go into pretty good detail on this for you to really, hammer home all the information. So the ECA stack is made up of 3 ingredients. Obviously, starting with the letters E, C, and A, we've got ephedrine, caffeine, and aspirin. So on their own, ephedrine and caffeine can have some benefits when it comes to fat loss. I've talked about this, especially in my ephedrine video, and I've discussed caffeine on several different occasions and different products, etc. I'll probably do some more videos just strictly on caffeine. But when you combine the 3 of them with the aspirin, they have a strong synergistic effect that can speed metabolism by up to 10%. Now, this is clearly going to result in greater fat burning, and you're just going to see a lot bigger results. Now, ephedrine has been shown to increase heat production in the body, which is also known as thermogenesis. That causes the release of stored fat. Now, upon this release, the fat is then used as the body's first source of energy. Then, the caffeine will actually make the body continually burn fat throughout the day, and it will also increase metabolism. So what about the aspirin? Because I often get people that are confused as to why that's in there. Well, aspirin works to keep the body's temperature stable. So that allows the ephedrine and the caffeine to work longer. So why is it so popular, though? Well, the ECA stack is popular because it's cheap. All right, a bottle with 200 tablets of caffeine at 100 or 200 milligrams is going to be like $10, maybe 15 at the most. Caffeine and aspirin are cheap. You can get them anywhere. You can get them at any drugstore, any grocery store. So the only problematic part possibly is the ephedrine side of it. It's a little bit more tricky. So in some countries like Canada, it's still legal to purchase at a supplement store. But in the United States, you'd have to ask the pharmacist for something like Broncaid, and that's an asthma medication, by the way. And since it can be purchased without a prescription, but you have to go up there, you got to show them your ID. They're going to mark your name down. It's going to be in the system. So you're not going to be able to abuse this. You're not going to be able to continually do it over and over and over and over and over. All right. Now, the Broncaid is going to contain 25 milligrams of ephedrine sulfates, but it also contains guaifenesin, and that has its own set of side effects. Now, the ECA stack has 2 main mechanisms of action that will then lead to the ultimate goal of fat loss, increased metabolism, and appetite suppression, which is why people use this. And appetite suppression, I've done the ECA stack before. The appetite suppression is very real, okay? A typical dose of ECA is 24 milligrams of ephedrine, 25 milligrams, 200 milligrams of caffeine, and 80 milligrams of aspirin taken 3 times per day. This would be the maximum daily dose that I would recommend. Now, the best way to run the ECA stack would be to start slow. 3 doses of 8 milligrams of ephedrine, 100 milligrams of caffeine, and 80 milligrams of aspirin per day. From there on out, you can slowly increase your dosing until you reach the recommended dose. You never need to rush into things. Look, if you go too high, you're already wrecking yourself. You can always start low and increase. There's nothing wrong with that. You don't have to go for the home run on the first swing. All right? Take your time. Now, do you really need aspirin in this stack? So if you include aspirin in this stack, it's often debated out there. Some swear by it, and some say that it adds no additional benefit to the stack. The dose of aspirin that would significantly increase the effectiveness of the stack would be around 325 milligrams per day. All right, 3 times per day. But such a high dose would put you at a significant risk for many different issues, gastrointestinal issues, things like bleeding. So to solve this problem, some people suggest supplementing an extra serving of fish oil each day instead of aspirin, since it's been shown to aid in fat loss as well. Now, we've talked about nothing but good things here. The ECA stack is very effective, granted, but it comes with a lot of possible side effects. Some of them would be like increased blood pressure, insomnia, irritability, possible anxiety, adrenal fatigue. So for these reasons, it's important that you do not abuse this, all right? Don't run it longer than 6 weeks before taking a break of at least 2 weeks. Luckily, the side effect of insomnia can actually be lessened by taking your last dose at least 5 hours before, bed, or eliminating the last dose altogether. Just don't run this too close to going to bed, or you're going to regret it. Another side effect is potential catabolism. ECA does not distinguish between fat and muscle, so together with weight loss and increased metabolism, it will naturally lead to some muscle loss as well. So this would definitely be considered a negative side effect in bodybuilding because a lot of effort is put into gaining additional muscle mass and nobody wants to lose it that easily. So one of my favorite alternatives when we're talking about clenbuterol and things like ECA is cardarine, GW501516, and stenabolic SR9009. These are a lot safer. They're just as effective. Maybe not on the surface as something like clenbuterol right away, but long term, yes. And long term, you don't have to worry about all of these issues that you get with clenbuterol and possibly something like the ECA stack. So these are both extremely good options to substitute if you are stimulant sensitive, concerned about the side effects, things of that nature. Just remember, the ECA stack can be ran safely and effectively if you don't abuse it. You just have to be very careful. It is effective. It's not something I generally recommend, but if done properly, you could do it. I just wouldn't continuously do it. I wouldn't keep reaching back for it. Run it once or twice and then that's it. And that's no big deal. It's the people that want to run it over and over and over and over, abuse the dosing, or run it too long, run it too high. That's where the problems really start to come in, and that's really said for anything. Now, there are some things that I just wouldn't touch, period, that I've talked about before. Things like DMP, insulin, clenbuterol, check drops. But some of these things, like ephedrine and the ECA stack, if you don't abuse them, if you run them right, and if you don't make it a habit, you can get some nice results and not have to worry about really hurting yourself. So use your head, everybody. That's all I can tell you. So that being said, www.icearms.com/forums. I'm also in the evolutionary forum as well as the elite fitness forum. You can also email me at dylan@icearms.com, and please don't forget to subscribe to the channel. That being said, stay tuned for plenty more to come. Dylan Gemelli, signing off.